opportunity to give us a couple of words of greetings, and then we'll go on with the rest of the panel members. And that's Councilmember Charles Barrett.
Thank you very much. You know, one of the real problems we have is when they set the framework of what you should be discussing. Stop and frisk is not the real issue. It's racial profiling. Racial profiling. You can't stop people because they're black. You can't stop a youth because they're Latino. And there are laws in place. As a matter of fact, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights that comes out of the United Nations that this country signed on to says that you cannot stop people because they're black. This is not a debate as to whether or not the stop and frisk should be reformed. I thank Comptroller and mayoral candidate John Liu for saying that he will abolish stop and frisk, that he will abolish it. So I thank him for that. But it's racial profiling. And there's no laws on the books anywhere, there's no police procedure anywhere that says that you can racially profile. So this is a no-brainer. The bottom line is that the police department is out of control, they're off the hook, and they're violating our very fundamental, basic human rights. And the only way, the main way to get it stopped, is that we have to rise up beyond just crises. We have to mobilize and organize ourselves as a people to say that we're not going to let business go on as usual in this town as long as we're disrespecting our very fundamental human rights. The only time that we've ever got legislation passed, the only time litigation has been successful is when we had a movement attached to it. A civil rights movement, a black power movement, a Malcolm X, a Martin Luther King, a Rosa Parks, a Fannie Lou Hamer, when they developed movements in the street that said, and don't just leave it to our young people getting angry and going out there, you old folk, get out there in the streets too. You need exercise anyway. Get out there in the streets with your children and say that I'm outraged by this as well. Because any one of us sitting in here could be next. Any single one of us. So I'm optimistic that the people are going to stop this. The people are going to say we've had enough. Because I've seen them disrespect church-going people. No matter, they're not going to ask you what religion you are. If you're black, you run the risk of being stopped. And you don't know how humiliating that is. When you go in the neighborhood, Viola Plummer and I was coming out of the office one day, and this young man was standing on the corner eating a piece of pizza. 6 officers came up to him, jumped out of the van, held their guns, surrounded him. So Viola and I, we jumped out of our car, we stood right there next to them and said, what did you stop them for? They said, he'll tell you. And when they saw us come, they left. I went up to the brother and said, what happened? You know, what did you do? He said, they gave me a summons. I said, for what? I dropped my napkin that I was eating my pizza with. He didn't do anything. We patrol our community sometimes. And I want to say to my elected officials, you get out in the streets. And sometimes you drive around in your car, like we do in East New York. We follow the police, we jump out of our cars, we've stopped several stop and frisk, but I call it for what it is. It's racial profiling, it's against our human rights. This is the 21st century. They got a lot of nerve keeping us in poverty because of capitalism that's exploiting us, keep us unemployed, in foreclosures, don't want to bring any money into our neighborhoods to fix the neighborhoods up, and then got a nerve to ride around and stop us every 5 minutes because we're walking through a neighborhood that you're not even fixing up, shutting schools down and daycare centers down, and now we can't even walk through the communities that you are doing a horrible job with, and now you want to put us in jail for walking through our community. So Somebody said they had an open warrant. I don't know a brother in the hood without an open warrant. An open warrant is that you got stopped and frisked and you spit on the sidewalk or something and you didn't go take care of the summons. When I was growing up and you had an open warrant, you were a criminal. A warrant was some serious stuff. Now everybody has an open warrant. I'm afraid to get stopped. I know I forgot to do something. So we need to make sure that we have forums like this, but we must organize and make sure that we build a movement, because I'm telling you, when you really had enough, and we rise up and not let any one of those incidents go, you'll be shocked to see how fast change can come when you let them know business will not go on as usual as long as you disrespect us. We're black, we're proud, and we're not going to be disrespected. We want respect like every other human being has in this town. We want the same thing for us, and we're demanding that. When you had enough, they'll stop.